Assalamualaikum. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhammad Ibrahim bin Bukhari and my metric number BP20603 and I am the leader for this group. So let me introduce you my fellow group member.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is SITI FARISHA AMIRAH binti ZULKIFLIE. My metric number BP190478.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good day. My name is FARHANA binti HYDER metric number AP190147.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SYAFIKA binti ALIAS, matrix number 190301.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SARINA binti SARDAM. My metric card number is AP190312.
Malaysian Torrens system. This system has been introduced by Sir Richard Robert Torrens in South Australia in 1857. Introduced in Malaysia by Maxwell in 19th century. The system has been used for registration of title and dealing of land.
Differences between the deed and Torrens system. The differences can be categorized into 5 aspects. The differences are: first, transfer of title. For Torrens system, land title will only change when the authorities make an endorsement, while for deed system, land ownership changes according to the action of the parties involved in an agreement. Second, document. Torrens system in English we call as document of title or land grant, while in deed system identified as deed. They are the instruments of agreement on a land. Third, facilities. Torrens system, a search can be done during registration while showing ownership to the seller, while for deed system, buyer for a piece of land need to filter various sale and purchase agreement or other document to ensure the seller is the latest owner. Fourth, adverse possession. For Torrens system is not accepted neither for government nor owner, but accepted for deed system. Last, security. For Torrens system, property still belongs to the owner. The registration of the land only shows that the ownership of the land has been charged to the mortgage, while for deed system, as security for loan and similar transaction, the owner mortgage and transfer the land to the mortgager. That's the only differences from the two systems. In conclusion, Torrens system construct the more appropriate method in the land administration compared to English deed system and has the large impact in our National Land Code 1965.
Now we continue with the principle of Torrens system. Principle of Torrens system can divide by two. The first is principle mirror and the second is principle curtain. Principal mirror is registration reflect all relevant material fact the right of a person to his land. For example, if a person want to sell a house, the new title must be the same as the old title in terms of the definition of the land with the exception of the name of the owner. For the principal curtain, in this principle, since it includes all detail about the title, one does not need to go behind the certificate of title. This implies that ownership need not be shown by lengthy, complete document owned by the owner. All the requisite ownership detail is on the certificate of title.
Objective of Torrens system. First, to overcome the defect of the deed system. Second, to provide simplicity and certitude. Third, to deter the legal technicalities in land dealing. Fourth, to provide security of title and facility of transfer.
Characteristic of Torrens system in Malaysia. First characteristic is the register. Register given the most important thing as the register is everything and any dealing should be officially registered to gain the recognition as a result provision emphasizing the registration is necessary to vast and diverse. Title can be found under section 206 in bracket 1 in national. The indivisibility or interest also one of the important characteristic in Malaysian Torrens system. According to the subsection 92 in bracket 1, the indivisible title can be conferred to the registered proprietor upon the registered. Third characteristic are the machinery caveat. Caveat are essentially a legally recognized intention to purchase. It's officially record of launch interest against ownership property. National Land Court state that the caveat mechanism that prevent the registration of transaction under National Land Court to protect the parties. There are 4 types of caveat. The last characteristic are alienation of land provided under National Land Court where the state alienate land either it for leasehold period for maximum 99 years or perpetuity under special circumstances and has the power to impose condition and restriction in interest. It was important to take note that alienated land will be reverted to the state in the specific circumstances under National Land Court in section 46 in bracket 1.
Case Tehbivi Maratumutu 1977. This is a section of the case in trial court between the appellant and respondent. Under Torrens system, register is everything. The section 118 bracket 1 where the approval of the state authority to alienation of any land whether under this act or under provisions of any previous land law had been given, subject to subsection 80 in bracket 3, document of qualified title shall be prepared, registered and issued by the land administrator or registrar as the case may be.
Next case study about Dr. T. Q. Siu NORS versus Pendaftar Geran-Geran Tanah Negeri Selangor 1982. Some fact, the land hereby leases shall not be transferred or leased for a period of 15 years without the consent of the ruling council. The title also contained comments from August 18, 1964. And this is the chronology from 9 November 1967 until 5th May 1980, whereas the first applicant transferred the land to the second and third applicant and the second and third applicant on the same day. The memoranda of transfer and charge were presented for registration but were rejected by respondent on the ground that the restriction in interest was still subsisting. And in 17 August 1979, the applicant had made a declaration that restriction in interest endorsement on the document of title expired. The question was whether the restriction in interest comment from the date endorsement on the title, that is August 18, 1964, or the date when the alienation was registered, that is on November 9, 1967. The respondents were therefore correct in rejecting the document present for registration. And for these cases, based on section 78 in column 3 of the National Land Code, which specifies that the alienation of state land shall not take place on registration and that the date of registration shall be November 9.
Study case Kip vs. Maser 1891. In the case of Kip vs. Maser, Privy Council has explained that the main purpose of the Torrens system is to save those who deal with landowner from inconvenience and expense of having to investigate the background property concern to satisfy them as to its validity. The principle emphasizes the information recorded in the register record and do not have to look behind the scenes such as the history of the land and so on. The fact of the case, first a woman owned a land and gave her solicitor the title certificate and the power of attorney to give her husband power. Then the solicitor forget and transfer to get a fictitious person and remove the woman's name from the register. The solicitor arranged a mortgage and used the money. The mortgage was unable to register the mortgage as they need evidence relating to the fictitious person. The solicitor forget more documents and it was registered. The woman brought an action against everyone and want title to be returned. Help. The title of the property was returned to the woman free of the mortgage on the basis it was the result of fraud. Obviously, you do not deal with the licensed proprietor. This case is significant because it demonstrates the integrity of the system. It was invalid because the mortgage should have confirmed the accuracy of the register.
This is the case under section 340(1) in the Torrens system. The Court of Appeal held the bank was an innocent party, and in the absence of proof that the charge will occur as a result of fraud, forgery, and misrepresentation.
This is the case that I have studied. Situation for the cases are the plaintiff purchased a premise where the defendant was a tenant of the previous proprietor. After 1.5 years, the plaintiff gave the defendant a notice to quit. The defendant refused and argued that his tenancy was at least pursuant to an oral agreement made between him and the former landlord for the period of 3 years with an action to renew for another exercise by the tenant. The court held that it was a tenancy exempt from registration under section 213(3) in National Land Court. The tenancy was not endorsed under section 213(3) because did not bound subsequent purchaser of land.
In a conclusion, Torrens system is a system that simplifies matters in the settlement on land dealing, increase the efficiency in land procedures, and provide a clear and secure title document.